You now tuned into the hottest podcast in the world, the Stay Woke Podcast, right here on the SonicBreakdown.com.
Welcome back to another Stay Woke Podcast. This is D-Ray Brinson. And, the Sonic Breakdown presents the Stay Woke Podcast. So check out the SonicBreakdown.com. Thanks for listening. Today is a special podcast. I'm very, very excited. I've been talking about it, saying that we needed some some women perspectives about this love that Brother to the left over here got us started on, that sprung this series of topic on love. So we got a full house tonight. We got Brother to the left. And then we're just going to call her Sister to the Left.
I think that's a good name.
AKA
right
the one. Because that's what we called her on the last podcast.
Right.
We got Reddy, our comic expert.
He's thank you for having me back in this thing.
He's touching on the love. And then we got, of course, Miss Alana Jane. Again, gonna give her insight and her perspective on this wonderful topic of love. I want to preface or set the stage and say, first question I guess I want to pose is, how would you classify as when you're in love? And that's open to the floor. And I know that's a difficult question.
Can I take this one time?
Go ahead.
So I'm going to use my personal experience just because I didn't believe love was real. I'm going to be so real. I was in a lot of different relationships just usually for the fun, you know what it is. And I didn't think love was real. I was saved just to get that happiness. And I met this chick about 4.5 years ago today, actually. And
oh, congratulations.
And thank you. It was just
congratulations, brother.
Thank you, brother to the left.
Yeah.
It was really it began with just, having some fun and just doing my thing. And then from there, it developed to some, we've been together for now 4.5 years. And I got to say, love is when you don't want to go the next year without seeing that person there in your life. When your concept changes from, I'm going to do my thing to like, how can I do my thing and make sure you're incorporated? Mm-hmm. Where that other person, not to sound corny, but it goes less to I or me, and it goes more to, we and us, where we're trying to see how our future is going or what is next for us. When you start using those terminologies, I feel that's when you understand, at least for me, I understood I was in love and I could no longer not say the words that I love you because I knew without a doubt I love you because I changed our concept from what I'm going to do to, hey, this Saturday we going to do this.
No, most definitely agreed. There's a paradigm shift there, right? And I feel like to an extent, the majority of your life, you're thinking about yourself. And if you have a child like I do, right, you're thinking about yourself and your child. Really, your child first, right? You're thinking about your child and you're thinking about yourself. Mm-hmm. However, when you find when you find someone you can spend the rest of your life with, when you find someone that you love, it's much less about yourself. You become selfless, and it becomes less of I and more of we. And, if you haven't experienced that, if you haven't touched on that we, then you just haven't gotten to the place where you're at with when you're in love.
Yes, sir.
And that's where I'm at. That's where the brother before I was speaking is at. When you get to the point where you're at we, and you don't see nothing but we, there is no I. When you get to the point where you're at we, that's when you're to an extent, that's where you're in the beginning stages of it. Because there's a lot of other layers that come with it.
Yeah.
But, when you really start to consider we instead of I, that's where you really feel, at least in terms of my perspective, that's where love really starts.
You start to see love in a different light. Love is bigger than it becomes something bigger than just a noun. And I'm just speaking from, the teacher perspective. But it becomes an identity. For me, it's become something that I wear. Like love is me. And the only reason why it is because I've experienced it. So it's kind of like, it becomes who you are and you carry it with you wherever you go, just like you carry the person that you love with you wherever you go.
And that's deep.
Absolutely, but let me before the next speaker gets on, let me say this because I feel like my girl hasn't had the appropriate introduction that she needs. Cause this is me. This is brother to the left.
Go ahead, bro.
Speak
what you gotta speak, bro.
God damn it, you understand me? And I done been on a few podcasts. If you've been listening to these things, I done got on a few. Right, I most definitely got on the first one, on this topic of love.
Yep.
But the woman that has sparked this whole topic of love for me is the woman that just touched on this goddamn topic right now.
I love it.
Right? And we're going to call her sister to the left. Right?
That's a beautiful thing.
And so you got us tag teaming on this thing. And so you got brother to the left, you got sister to the left. And each perspective is equal most definitely. Right? Mm-hmm. But this my girl right here. God damn it. This my girl. So I'm going, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like she needed the appropriate introduction because, her being new to this thing, she didn't introduce herself just right. So I'm going to introduce her just right.
And that's that balance we talking about.
You understand me?
That's love.
That's love.
Most definitely. So I'm going to make sure that you understand that was sister to the left that just spoke.
I just want to bounce off of what sister to the left just touched on, that what you carry around the person that you love with you. That was actually a sign for me when I was falling for my. I still think of him as my boyfriend, but actually he's my husband. I knew I was falling for him because I was saving up my experiences of the day, my jokes, my reflections. I was saving them up so I could share them with him.
Oh wow!
I knew that's when I knew that my attitude toward him was changing, and that my desire was to let him know more about me. Like I want you to know what I'm thinking about during the day, even though we're both at our different jobs. I want to bring you into my experience, and I want to hear about your experience. And when you have those thoughts that you want to know the parts of their lives that you're not there to witness directly, you're still interested in that. That's how I knew, because I was carrying him around.
I want to hold on. Let me touch on that real quick.
Do your thing, brother.
I really have to second that in so many capacities. I was before my current relationship, I was with a guy. If you didn't text me all day, I gave no flips. I didn't give a fuck. Like, you didn't hit me this whole week. Fuck it. I'm just gonna do my own thing.
That's
but
fine. Yeah.
when I started really kind of hitting what you saying, that feeling of, yo, I wonder what she doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was more on the I wasn't listening to you to get the goodies. I was listening to you because I honestly wanted to know. Like, I was honestly listening. And I wasn't listening to respond. I was listening to hear. When she was telling me, hey, I'm going to do this today, I actually was happy to hear it without having to give a response, without telling her about mine or without having. I just wanted to know.
Let me just learn about you.
Yeah.
Receiving.
And receive that information. Yeah. Receive that information.
Instead of giving, because we're in a society where we want to give our opinions. We want to give our insight. We want to give what we want to give to others. And sometimes we don't receive enough. And that's something that I've noticed, is that the art of listening is, for me, that I'm noticing that it's being lost, because just like he was saying, is that's the other way that I knew, is those, like you said, that pretty much is a consensus, is that feeling of, I wonder what they're doing. Not just only I wonder what they're doing, is I want them to know, like, that I care about what they're doing. And that I'm truly, like, it's not, I care about what they're doing and how they're feeling as much as I care about my own. Mm-hmm. And when you make that transition and you start to think in that manner, I think it does change your psyche, your idea of how you run your day, how you run your life. Everybody in here is in a relationship. So this is somewhat of a biased panel, and this is a good group. And I think we're all giving different perspectives because we have different times in the relationships that we've been in. But like I said, the thing that I noticed is there was times when I was doing something with the podcast, or I was doing something with the website, and like the first person I thought about sharing that with, normally, like, I didn't care about who I shared it with because I internalize a lot of things. So for me, I just internalized it. But I was like, oh, I wonder what my girl's doing, or I want to tell her this point in my life, and I want to hear her point in her life. Mm-hmm. And so I think, as we said, that is important, in that does change, and it's kind of that light switch moment. The relationship is different.
Yeah, and like also what you bouncing off what you were just saying, D-Ray, is as we grow up, we learn that what other people think doesn't really matter. It shouldn't really direct us. Like, you should be, self-possessed person.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
then someone gets to you, start falling in love with them, and they become someone actually whose opinion you do care about and you do take on just as much as your own opinion. So it's kind of an interesting progression from when you think everyone else's opinions are really influencing you. Then you kind of grow up and mature, and you're into yourself and your own opinion of yourself, and then maybe you're finding this partner that will be a mirror to you, and their opinion of you starts to really, really matter.
And not only does it just matter, but you also know that they have your best interest. Because I think that also adds to that dynamic. Because if you don't have that trust or that factor of trust, yeah, you still might want that opinion, but you're not going to fully grasp it and fully hold on to it and fully internalize it and fully take it, because you have that some resonance of, are they really? But when you're in that love and you know it's reciprocated, and you know that they're feeling the same as you, there is no, when they say this, is it that? It's just, they have your best interest at heart. And even if you disagree with it, even if you don't think that they're right, you still understand where they're coming from and want to receive it.
Yeah, it's counsel and advice instead of
Exactly.
a manipulation, for
Exactly.
sure. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Everything that has been said, I most definitely agree with, right? But I'm going to speak to a different perspective, man, because I feel like what you two are speaking to is, to an extent, kind of a normal relationship, right? And I think I got to speak from a soulmate's perspective, if you don't mind me,
Go
right?
ahead.
No, please.
I'm going to
please
speak
do.
from that soulmate's perspective, because I know that I done found my soulmate, right? And there doesn't need to be any reciprocation. There doesn't need to be any reciprocation, because I'm going to give it all, regardless of if it's reciprocated or not. I trust and I believe, and I know what time it is with my girl.
And what I want to touch on that is, when I was saying that it's going to be reciprocated, it's not that you need it to be reciprocated.
Right.
But the fact is that they love you as much as they do, and just as much as you do, you
Right.
know it will be reciprocated. Not that it needs to be or that you're expecting it to be. You're just going to give your love.
Right.
But the fact that they love you just as much, they feel like they have, not even that they feel like they have to, they want to reciprocate that love to you back. That's what I meant by that.
And
Okay.
can,
You know what I mean?
can I add on to that? I kind of want to touch on a little bit of what both Brother Left said and D-Ray, because that's when I kind of really understood the concept of love. When I'm a cheap human being. You know what I'm saying? I'll take you out to eat because I like to eat. But when it comes to taking you out to do things that require me to pay for you, that wasn't me. And when my first step, when I understood love, is when I started planning expensive or money-based things, not because I wasn't thinking about the money. I wasn't the money. You know, I'm a cheap person, so I think about the money, but wasn't thinking about the money I was spending. I took her when I bought her John Legend tickets when John Legend first had that song out about him and Chrissy Teigen, because I knew that was her favorite song. The money concept wasn't there, and I wasn't looking for reciprocation because I just wanted to see the smile on her face, But
that is some reciprocation.
But
Your
with
gratitude.
but with that, to me, when I took her on that, she realized how much I was really feeling for her, and she already had shit planned. Where she took us to Vegas, she planned a full trip to Vegas, had everything paid for, and she wouldn't let me pay because one of my concepts of this book I really love is called The 5 Languages of Love.
Yeah.
And part of the 5 languages of love is how do you specifically show love? And one of my aspects of showing love is my money. I'm not rich. I don't have hella money. And to me wanting to spend money on you shows that I care for you more than anybody. And one of her languages of love isn't money, which is something I love. It's just her doing things with me. Going to a walk, going on stuff like that was her reciprocation of her love to me. And as I understood that, I understand that everything I've ever done and probably will do, she reciprocates in the way that she expresses love. And that's why I kind of have to agree with Brother to left and a little bit. That reciprocation is not needed. You may not even want it, but it happens because of the fact that they want to make you happy. It's all about seeing that smile, seeing that happiness, seeing that enjoyment on the other person's face without expecting something. You're not expecting something because you know that person loves you and you know they're going to give you something back in some aspect of love.
I don't want to digress, but I'm going to still make this statement. I don't believe there is any such thing as a selfless act. And so that's why, because even in what you were saying, you wanted to see the smile on her face. That's some gratification to you.
True.
And in the situation with your love, you're going to give your love, but you're giving your love because that's what you want to do. So it is not but I don't want to digress on a selfless act thing, but I just wanted to put that out there. But I do want to ask, or I do think it's important that we tell our viewers how long each of us been in the relationships that we've been in, so it gives them some parameters on where our perspectives are coming from.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I don't mind being the first to get on this, right? Because I feel like, my perspective is uncommon, right? So let me say this. I've known my soulmate, goddammit. I've known her for about how long would you say, mama? Okay, she say 7, 8. I feel like about 4, 5, 6 months, 7, 8. But I don't know. Goddamn it.
He went from 4 to 7.
Hey,
we both know who's right in this mug, right? Y'all all know who's right.
7. I've known her for 7.
Correct.
I've known her for about 7 months, right? But we worked together, man. We worked together for about 4 months before we ever got anything cranking. You feel me? And what I did was I watched her from afar, but I also watched her real close up before we got intimate at all. And we were just friends and we were just coworkers. We worked together at first, you feel me? Mm-hmm. And I just watched, her whole stilo, you feel me? That might have been the case, goddamn it. Because if you were smart, you was going to watch me. If you were smart, you was going to watch the killer. You know what I'm talking about? You feel me? Hey, but check this out. You know what I'm saying? So I watched her from afar, but also up close. And it wasn't until we wasn't co-workers anymore that I pushed up on her. You feel me? With that said, I had the opportunity to watch her without us having anything going intimately. So I knew her as a professional. I knew her as a person before we even moved into anything intimately. And then when we moved into that personal ground is when things really got kicking for us. You feel me? So, and just in terms of the timeline, man, it's been about 6, 7 months.
Okay.
So that
we already know, and we know Reddy said his was 4 and a
yeah,
half.
Mine is a fully dating for 4.5, but I kind of gonna have to. I have the same kind of similar story from Brother to the Left. Me and my girl, we started working together 6 years ago, and for the first 1.5 years, she wouldn't say a single word to me. She was super shy.
That's a slow burn.
I met her on one of my presentations I was doing for work, and then I got her name, but all she would give me was her name, and for the next basically 1.5 years, every time I saw her in the office, she wouldn't say shit to me because she said she was too shy. I think she was just saying fuck me, but whatever. Until literally one day we went to this movie premiere as part of our job, and she wore this sexy as hell dress, and I pretended like I couldn't find my way to the BART station. So I had her drive me to the BART station. And when she dropped me off, I told her one thing. I was like, I'm going to get you before the end of this year. And that was like May, June. Thank you. The reason I said that is because, Atlanta was over there clapping. But I told her I was going to get her. And she sat down, never happened, whatever. About 4 to 5 months later, we in a conference. I started taking her out just to go drinking and start going on dates. Just like she wouldn't let me get it, so it wasn't even like it was sex. That's what probably made me get in the relationship. She made me just get to know her. We went out to movies, we went to the bar, we went out to things we both liked. She played video games with me until like literally one day I asked her a question that I've never asked a female ever in my life, and it changed my life. I was like, hey, we've been kicking it for a couple months now. You want to date me? And she said yes. And from that point on, February 1st, it's been crazy ever since.
Jane, it's on you.
Okay. Coming up on 10 years knowing my dude. I met him on a Friday the 13th in July of 2007. And I met him on Friday the 13th. He lived in apartment 1313, and he was my 13th boyfriend.
Oh, wow.
And I don't normally buy into that crap, but that's a lot of information right there.
Yeah, that is.
And I've been married to him since 2010.
Nice. Congrats.
And thank you. Thank you. It's been good times. I have to say it's serious now. We have 2 children. We own a house.
It's serious now.
I was about to say serious now.
So it's serious at this point. It was casual when we met though, and we met on the internet, and we were intimate from the first day that we met, which everyone says is a mistake, but it worked out okay from our end.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
So it's a little different, yeah, from other people.
So we all have, like I said, vast different perspectives. The question I do want to ask.
How long you been dating?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I didn't include myself. My bad.
Put your data in there, dude.
Come on now, bro.
Man, we got to hear from the host. What's up? What's
on,
your
homie.
program, brother?
Mine is 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. There's been great times. There's been some hard times. I'm gonna be real, because every relationship is gonna have their ups and downs, and if you make it through the downs, that's when you really know that it's worthwhile. You know what I'm saying? Because
Makes your relationship.
exactly, those are gonna be the times that really test the will of the relationship, and if it's strong enough, you make it through it. That leads me to one thing I do want to say. If I don't make sure I don't get it through anywhere else, is the concept, even if you believe in soulmates or not, relationships take work. And if you don't believe they take work, the divorce rate wouldn't be as low as it is if it
low?
didn't. Or, I mean, that's high. I'm sorry. The non-divorce rate wouldn't be as low. The divorce rate wouldn't be as high if it didn't take work. So
something like 70% to get divorced in the first 2 to 3 years.
And so that's I just wanted to make sure I put that out there, because that's something I really believe in, that. And that's why I kind of, which actually, perfect segue, leads me into the next question, is why we brought it up somewhat, but I want to get other people's perspectives. I already gave mine about soulmates. Is that something that you believe in? Because as I stated, I don't, because I think put it this way. When people say soulmates, it gives the notion that you're just destined and it will be. I don't believe that. I believe even if you found somebody that is perfectly compatible to you, it's still going to take work. And so that's why I don't necessarily believe in it, because that lack of work, I don't believe exists. I believe it's always going to take work.
I don't think the notion of soulmates I don't think it says anything about or relationships not being hard work. I just think when you talk about soulmates, we're talking about a connection, and we're talking about a connection that's just deeper than something that develops over time. It's a knowing. It's a being, just as love is. It's an existence. It's innate. And you come to that realization once you connect. And of course it develops, and just like relationships work and take time, I don't think that just because, you're soulmates, it doesn't mean that, you won't have challenges or relationships won't take work. When I think about soulmates, it's just a connection, and it's something that's automatic, and it's something that is rare. And so I'm looking at those attributes, not things that, because relationships to me and soulmates, those are two separate categories. Absolutely.
This is brother to the left. I'm gonna piggyback on sister to the left that just spoke, and what I would like to add is that there's just something in every bone in your body, man. When you're talking about soulmates, there's something that everything in you that just, you know what I'm saying? When we've been in a situation where we've been engaging and interacting, there was just something in me that was like, this is my wife talking. This is my wife talking to me right now. And there was something in my motherfucking legs. There's something in my goddamn elbows. There's something in my mind that's just like, everything in me is like, this is who is speaking to me right now. And I think that's the difference between a goddamn soulmate and somebody that you're dealing with, that you're content with, you know? And so when she speaks to me, man, there's something in my motherfucking toes that says, this is the woman I'm going to spend the rest of my life with.
I'm watching her face, and you're right there, brother.
You know, and you straight up, right? And when you know, you know.
And I'm gonna say as a bystander, like, just, and this is my first time meeting her, is like, you can tell that you both feel it, and you both, it is the realest thing to you. As I can tell that it's the realest thing, is real, is as real as we're talking right now, as for you guys, it's knowing, and it's like you said, it's knowing. There's no question. There's no. It's not faith. It's for you guys. It's knowing. There's a difference, and I can tell I can see it.
So I was like, just meeting you two right now. I met Brother to the Left before, but meeting you tonight, also Sisters to the Left. Like, what that tells me is, I didn't necessarily marry my soulmate. I don't think I have a soulmate, or if I do, I haven't met them. And I think I'm peaceful about that because I'm married and love and have children with someone that is my best friend. But we got to know each other over time. It took a while to figure out our stuff. And I think you can get to a deep level. But that the thing where you instantly click with someone, I think that is quite rare, like you were saying. But just because you personally haven't seen it doesn't mean it don't exist.
Exactly. And I think that's I'm on the same space as Ms. Jane is that I don't think I've met my soulmate, and I don't know if I ever, based on your experience, I know I haven't, because if I did, I would have known. And so, but I do think I'm in a good relationship, and I think I'm in a good place, and I think I'm happy. I know I'm happy where I am, and like just as you said. Did it take work? Yeah. But I don't think I've been in other relationships where I don't think no matter how much work I put in, it would work. Right. And be content and happy. So that's why I know it's different.
Right. It is. And when you talk about just soulmates or love in general, everything is subjective until a new experience gives you a perspective. Yeah. And then once you reflect, you can be objective and see things from a different light. And just because you haven't met your soulmate, I'm not saying at all that it doesn't mean that you can't get into a relationship with someone that you are compatible with, that you develop a connection with over time, and that you can live the rest of your lives with. But I think to a certain extent, that's the difference between settling and not. Okay. And what I mean by that is that in life and in love, a lot of us, we're ambitious. We have goals. We have a lot of things that we want. And so once you find that person that you are compatible with and that you develop a connection with, I mean, myself, I've done it too. If you are connected with that person and you're compatible, why not have a lasting relationship? Yeah. Because what are the odds of meeting your soulmate? And you wouldn't know unless you experienced it. So it's like you don't miss what you've never had. But now that I've met Brother to the Left, I know that everything that has all the relationships that I've had before were settling. Yeah. Because this is completely different.
And that's...
You both seem completely plugged into how precious it is too, which is amazing. It's very moving actually to see that.
If you haven't listened to Brother to the Left Part 1, or Brother to the Left in Love Part 1 and Brother to the Left Part 2, he echoes those same sentiments independent of her. She wasn't here when we did that podcast. And the fact that they're marrying each other, it's endearing. It's like you said, it's something precious that it is. I think it's very rare to find, and the fact that you found it is just wonderful. And I'm glad that you guys are here to share it on the podcast as well, and that we're getting to sharing it as a result of recording it.
And one more comment. I actually think you're totally right about what you said about settling, Sister to the Left. I think there's because the way it works here in the U.S., like there's a huge pressure to find your buddy or your partner, Absolutely. Your spouse. If you're not in a relationship, there's something weird about you. And I think that does make us want to find someone with whom we can make it work 100%. At whatever level. And I think, you guys finding the connection that you did without a lot of negotiation into it. I think you're right. And I think I'm going to have to say I'm a proud settler. But I think you're right, and I saw you were putting the word out and kind of thinking like, what is it going to mean if I say that that other kinds of relationships are settling? But I think it's true, and I think it's I like that you named it. It makes me think deeply about it, and it made me feel okay about it because I think not everyone gets to meet their soulmate.
Right, and I agree with that too, 100%.
And like I said, I echo your sentiments as well. As like I said, I didn't find it get offended by what you said because I do, like I said, I think it's so rare that you could spend your whole life waiting for that and never find it,
Right.
and then be unhappy because you could have had a happy relationship that you didn't settle for.
Right.
So, but go ahead.
I mean, good. No, finish your thought because mine's gonna be completely different.
No, go ahead.
So I was gonna say I'm conflicted. I'm very happy for the brother and sister to the left. Y'all awesome, and I can almost see the love. It's beautiful.
Oh,
Here it comes.
But
The passion changing.
like the reason why I say I'm conflicted is it's simple because when it comes to I only use my own personal experience because I can't judge anything else. When it comes to my current girl I date, I'm not the person that believes in marriage. So, but I do believe in being with you forever. When we first started doing, like, even when I first met her, I told one of my coworkers, which was also one of my friends, that I'm going to get her. I knew from the minute I met her that she was going to be mine in some way or some capacity. And from what she tells me is from the first day I talked to her, I was always on her mind. So when I go with that, when I went after her, my concept was never, I want to be with you. It was never even to date you. It was never that concept. It somehow developed into that, and we laugh about it today because my concept was straight get the cookie and run. That's what I wanted to do. And she knows this. This was never a, I told her this by the second date that I just want the cookie and ran.
I respect your bluntness, bro.
Thank you. Because it's worked for me.
And
because,
your honesty.
You know, I mean, I've been in relationships before, and all with the relationships before never were good. And nothing about them were good, but I never saw it when I was in them. But then as I started trying to get the cookie, because she wouldn't let me get it. The cookie jar was so tight. It had like 6 padlocks on it. Like, shit. Like, months went by. And she got me to the point where I cut off other females, which I'd never done before. Never done before.
That was brought up on
She got
part
me
one.
before I asked her to even date me, and then the concept of me. She's the only female. I'll give y'all a clue on my age right now. I'm gonna be real. It's 29 right now. I've never asked a female out of my life until her.
Wow.
But I don't want to get married, and she knows this. But the fucked up part is, I would get married to her if I knew it would make her happy, and it was something that I was ready for.
That's
and with
that L word coming through.
That's that bullshit. Because I know I love her, but again, that's why I say I'm conflicted, because how you explain what you felt as a soulmate, to me, is not even close to the concept of what I felt. But as well, Miss Jane said, I don't feel like I'm settling because everything about what she makes me feel is not only something I've never felt before, but something that I didn't know I needed until I felt it. Oh. So now I know without it, I wouldn't be complete without it. So that's why I say I'm conflicted between the two.
To me.
Hey, from personal experience, man, I got to tell you something about me and my girl, man. Is what really woke me up about her is exactly what you were talking about. Is the fact that I didn't realize that there was something I needed or something that I was lacking until she provided me with that.
I'm with it.
So, you know, not to speak too much to your situation, because it could be or could not be. But for me, you know, man, I knew what time it was with me and my girl because she provided me with something that I had never had. And more importantly, something that I didn't even realize I was lacking.
I love that. I really do.
You fill each other up. Like, if we're
And she ain't talking about in the sexual way for all those listeners out there that's
But
thinking
don't get it
that.
twisted,
That's always
though, 'cause
fun,
I'm
by
most
the way.
definitely- I'm most definitely fill her up sexually. You understand me? God damn it. No, I'm fucking with you. Go ahead,
You may
mama,
not
go
be
ahead.
able to tell, but they both blushing right now.
Well, what I was going to say, if we're speaking in terms of just something that's physical that you can see, like a glass of water, or I say that because it's transparent, and that's what I think of when I think of love. Side note, I think of transparency and vulnerability, and openness,
That a motherfucker.
and submission. But
Because, like as Bruce Lee said, you put water in a teapot, it's a teapot. You put water in a cup, it's a cup. It makes the shape and it's flexible, and that's submitting to the shape of what it's in.
Right. And so when I think of just love in general, but even more specifically, the love that we have, it fills you up. And if you're thinking, if you're trying to picture that, then just, picture something that is full. And that's how you feel full, like when you ate just the best meal ever.
But I agree with that, but I have to go back to something my brother said a while ago. You don't know what you don't know till you know it.
Right.
And we're kind of touching on what you're
said.
saying. Yeah. Like if you don't, like, I thought times in the past I had a concept of love, but when I really felt love, I understood that wasn't love, and that was more lust than love.
That it was different.
But you do have a concept of love
now. Yes.
Even before, because you love your family members, right?
Yeah,
it's
but
a different love,
okay,
but it's still a concept of
yes,
love,
ma'am.
right?
You're correct, yeah.
And if we think about how we define things, oftentimes in life, we define things in terms of their opposites anyway. That's true. So that helps us to conceptualize things. For example, if you've experienced happiness, then it's easy to conceptualize or to understand sadness. But for me, when I think about our love, I try not to talk about, and this is just when we're talking about the feeling of fullness and what love brings to you. When I think about our love, for me, because when I think about happiness, I know that the antonym is unhappiness. I like to give our love, for me, when I describe it, it's joy. Because when you think about joy, what is the opposite? You can say maybe pain, you can say a lot of things, but for me, you can't really define it. And happiness a lot of times depends on what happens. And so if the relationship is something happens that does not make you feel good or is not good for the relationship, then it can tend to sway things. And I feel like what we have is so much greater than that.
And that brings me to a question that I have. And it goes, would you compromise your happiness for the success of the relationship?
And, for me, where I'm at with this whole love thing is I would most definitely compromise everything. I would compromise everything for the happiness of my girl. God damn it.
And
it ain't just because she's sitting here right next to me. If you heard part one, then you understand what I'm saying is real.
Yeah.
I would compromise everything for the happiness of her because I get joy out of seeing her being happy.
So with that, the reason why I was trying to hit that earlier, because is it truly compromise if what you're doing, the question you asked was, would you compromise your happiness for the good of the relationship, correct? Mm-hmm. So in my concept of how I've been experiencing what I've been going through, if me compromising my happiness wouldn't make my relationship better. So I've seen that my thought of that, what you're asking is, if my significant other wants to do something that may not be something I actively enjoy, would I still do that? That's what I'm getting the question at. That's like if
it can be interpreted.
My girl likes
Grey's
Grey's Anatomy, and I absolutely hate the show. Would I watch the show to make her happy? Yes, but that doesn't kill my happiness. Is this a different kind of happiness? Before, yes, I would rather watch anime, rather watch Marvel, or rather watch.
But that is
DCs.
Compromising your happiness.
But no, I don't say it's happiness. I believe it's a compromise because I can be happy seeing her watch her show and trying to understand why she's watching it, and I'm still happy.
But no, this is the reason.
Happiness.
No, but this is the reason why it's a compromising of your happiness.
Well, no, I can't even say empathy because empathy.
You're sensitive to.
To me, it's not even that, because if you're not happy because I'm watching this, it has nothing to do with me. That's you specifically. This is me specifically.
So we're talking about you.
Yeah, so I'm saying I'm happy at this show you enjoy in general. I'll watch it. And if you're not happy for me watching it, I'm still happy because you're watching something you enjoy. So that's why I say it's different, because even if she doesn't care that I'm compromising in watching it, I'm still happy because they're watching it. She's watching something she enjoys.
So you're saying what makes her happy makes you happy, so it wouldn't be a compromise.
Yes.
Okay.
I know I said it's so complicated. Sorry.
So I'm gonna jump in as the married lady. I have done that before, compromise my happiness for what I thought was the good of the relationship, and we wound up in counseling. Mm-hmm. So I'd say the impulse to go there is very natural. That you'll overcommit, or you'll compromise a boundary, or you'll agree to something for the relationship that you think you can hack for a while because the other person wants it or needs it, or there's some other situation. But But then you start running at a diminished capacity, and that's a bill you have to pay eventually. Maybe you'll work it out within the context of the relationship, but you will find yourself at a critical point of unhappiness if you've given a lot of things away.
And that's
needs
where I was,
addressed.
and that's where I was going, is because in the case of Reddy, the way I interpret it is you are still compromising your happiness, because if you're not, well, let me say this. It comes, I believe that it is compromising your happiness, because you'd be truly happier doing something that you would want to do. And I'm not saying I think it's okay to compromise
I can feel that.
your happiness in some regards, but there is like I always say about everything, it's about a balance. And that's what I believe Ms. Jane is coming to, is that yes, at times you are going to compromise your happiness for the sake of the relationship, but there is a point where you can compromise too much, and it, instead of helping the relationship, is hurting the relationship.
Then
And
Yes,
on
it
the flip
costs
side,
more and not
yeah,
less.
exactly.
can I ask
and
when
on the
that cost benefit changes though? Because I'm as a curiosity, I'm just wondering when.
It's gonna be on a relationship to relationship basis, a case to case basis, on an in situation basis, and it's gonna even come down to what's going on in your life at that time. Like even on that second, like you can be angry at something at work, and
Bring
you
it home.
compromising your happiness for the sake of the relationship, added on top of that other shit you dealing with, is what causes a rift that is bigger than if you would have just did what makes you happy to kind of even you out. Like that's what I mean. Like, so that's what I don't think it's that
about your
easy to easy.
threshold.
So that's what I'm
Yes,
saying. Like,
threshold
so
is a
for
great
me,
word for it.
for me, what I would say based on this question, and then I'll let F and Maddie get in, is that it's about a balance. It's about, there are going to be situations where you're going to compromise your happiness, but it should never come at the complete cost of making the relationship worse. You have to have some happiness in yourself, and that's why at the end of the day you have to realize a relationship, you're two separate people. You're not one.
I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? You're not one. You're two separate people that mesh, and you work well together, and you might even complement yourself so perfectly.
Pieces of a puzzle, right?
But there's two
Just
separate
two
pieces,
different yeah.
and so you have to take that into account, and you have to be very cognizant of that. At least that's what I've experienced in my relationships. When I sacrifice my happiness to a degree or changed who I am,
Oh yeah, to me that's a whole nother level.
Then you know what I'm saying. Then it came at a cost, and the cost was worse.
But I feel you just added change. When someone tries to be changed and they're not willing to be changed, that's never going to be good for a relationship. Like I believe the only in general with a relationship or a human being in general,
But that's
change is not
compromising
going to
your
happen
happiness.
unless you want it to happen. If someone tried to force you change, it's usually what I call the fake change. It's I'm going to show you this was different with me, but I'm still the same because my concept, my mind, my thoughts are still the same. But you're just seeing this. That causes dissent. That causes hatred. That causes resentment. That causes all that
I'm
shit.
gonna jump in on that, right?
Well, let F and Maddie
But
get
we
in for a
we
minute.
most definitely gotta let F and Maddie get in this thing, because he, you know,
Is it okay?
he's been real silent.
Yeah.
He been real silent, man. So
And
F
we need to
get in here one time.
And we need to get the single person's
I'm
perspective.
about to forget what I'm about to say if you keep talking. Okay. all right. It was a little situation I was in. It was about last summer actually. It's just this female. I guess it was like modern day courting, like just messing with each other. That's what you want to call it, right?
Sure. We can
All right,
classify
but
it as that.
Like you guys were saying, like she, oh, I want to see this movie. I'm like, okay, let's go. Like, but then she'll say something like she started like picking up my signals, like she was like, you're not excited about it. You know what I'm saying? You're not happy. I'm like, well, I take that as what you want me to do. Like have a fireworks show. Like, yay, let's. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you like? Okay, like I think I'm compromising. I thought I was being
Being a good person in a relationship. That's what you.
Well, it was yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like this is what kind of person I am, and now you throwing it in my like. Well, so what do you know what I'm saying? Like, because I know whatever I want to do, you know what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure you're not into it either. So it's like, I mean,
But was this the first date?
no, it wasn't. That's what
Okay.
I'm saying. This is like multiple. This is like you know what I'm saying. Like she's she's getting my reads. She's starting to, you know what I'm saying?
What number we at? Like date wise, like 5, 6, this roundabout. Just curious.
Oh, let me see. The Warriors won it in 2015, so it was that July, that 4th of July weekend. I met her, and this was just last year.
Okay, so it's some time in. It's a good little time.
Yeah, you know, and then she started. I started like looking at her like, damn, she's starting to catch my. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might have to back on, you know. But then that kind of that something like that really did annoy me. Like, you know, I'm I really am compromising right now. You know what I'm saying? And now you like you're not now it's not good enough. Like because I'm not excited for it. Like you are. Like what you want me to do? Like.
You know, I think that speaks to the levels of this thing, man. Because there's most definitely levels in relationships. That's for sure. And you know, if I could speak real candidly, you know, if I speak to F and Maddie's situation, that just sounded like a goddamn buckethead you was dealing with.
He was
straight dealing with it no more.
One man, that wasn't your. You know, that was just the female you was dealing with, brother.
That's why it was a year of course.
So it comes down to a person to person basis, right? In terms of, is this someone that you just dealing with that you having fun with? Is this someone that you can be content with for the rest of your life? Or is this your soulmate, man? So, you know
but that was like one of like many red flags. Like, okay, yeah.
Like, so,
but she don't even know. She don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like the checklist.
Internal.
Been, if we ever had a checklist, it's been. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, it's a bunch of red flags on you.
It sounds like the woman. It sounds like the woman you were dating was suffering from this other big message. I think that especially women are raised with, like, the right man is going to share all of your interests. That's just not even true at all.
Yeah, nope.
Like, because like also what D-Ray was saying, like, there's two of you. Like, it is cool if you have like a couple things that you're both into, but then you also have your separate interests. Like, you don't got to throw a parade about the movie. You for it to be okay, like you could,
the fact that you're willing to go should be
that should work.
Yeah.
Like
that's
like
count for something.
Now,
for instance, we saw the Amy Winehouse documentary. We paid money for that. I didn't want to see it, or I was not interested in it at all. I'm like, all right, let's go. I sat through it. Like, you know, my sister's really big into Amy Winehouse, and that kind of like, you know, caught me because it's right there because it's my sister and stuff. So like, and it's like I was not enthusiastic about it. I didn't want to go see it at all, but I just went to see it just because that's what she wanted to see. I said, like, oh, you're really excited. Okay, let's go. Like, you know, but it was
now the
it was a horrible movie,
bro. You did more than most.
The only caveat I say that would give her some credence for that reaction is if you were bitching about it the whole way.
I was not bitching about it.
As soon as she said it, you're like, fuck, I don't want to see that shit.
No, I was not. I was like, okay.
Like, now, if you said that, then that'd be different. But the fact...
And it's already a year in. He said it was about a year in. So I can't give
that was one of the first couple days.
I can't give it nothing because 6 months in, you're in the honeymoon phase. Everything is wonderful. Everything's fun. Sex is great. All that shit is awesome. But after you hit that 6 to 8 months, some people go 9. I'll give it. Sure, fine. But after that, you start understanding who the person really is, or you put on blinders. Like, my girl wasn't in no disillusion when she asked me to go to see some, like, random, like, chick flick movie when I was like, yeah, I really want to see this, but we can go see this. She wasn't in disillusion because she knew I didn't want to see it. She was just on the concept of he'll see it because he's with me. And when I sent her to Marvel and DC movies, you know, I made her go see Doctor Strange and those kind of movies. I know she didn't like that shit. But again, it's that compromise that I don't need to be disillusioned about that she doesn't completely enjoy.
Right,
but she does it for me.
And that's that transparency, man.
That water.
That's that.
Like sister to the left said, that water.
Hey, goddamn it, that motherfucking water, right? Because it's clear than a motherfucker. You can see right through that thing, right? There's no preconceived notions. There's nothing hidden there. It is what it is. You know where your partner's at with it. And you know if your partner's feeling it or if they're not. And you know if they're going to sacrifice or if they're not, right?
And that brings me, because I do have to segue music into every podcast somehow, some way. The Waters, another Mick Jenkins album. Excellent concept album. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. I brought up the healing component on the last one, so I'll bring up The Waters on this one since we're talking about The Waters. But I do want to segue this into some other, some topics or some questions that I want to ask regarding relationships. And a question that we got into last time, but I want to get the female's perspective on it, because I took a lot of heat. About it, and it's about that sex question. And I said, exactly. See,
All the guys,
see the reaction I got. What I said is, sex is an important part of a relationship, but it should not be the end all be all. It should not be the number one, but it should be. It is something that needs to be considered.
Top three.
Thank you.
Okay. So, yep.
It's confirmation. Because that's all I wanted. Is just because, like I said, I don't think it's the most important, but it is important because you have to be in sync. Because, like I said, like I bring up on part 2 is if you on one far extreme of sexual libido and the other person's on the other far extreme, no matter how much y'all try to make that work, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, you're both going to be living in pain.
Exactly.
Unnecessarily.
Agreed, right? And since I got my girl right here to the left of me, this brother to the left, I got my. Nah, actually, she to the right, but I'm gonna speak on to the left, right? Right.
Brother
She's sister to the right at the moment, right? But we're gonna let her spark this thing off on the sexual. You know, I'm talking about the sexual reality of the situation. So let's let her get into it. This is my girl right here. We're gonna let her speak to it because I didn't got him in for sure. And we're going to let her speak to how the shit then went.
Well, I think that sex can play an important part of the relationship, but when you think about longevity, and you think about how when you get to a certain point, if you're thinking about being in a relationship with a person for a lifetime, then you know things get old. So for me, when I think about just the sexual part of the relationship, I think that chemistry is an important part, but also there are certain things that connect you before the sex even, or before you even get to the phase of sex. And those are the things that make it great.
Miss Sister to the left, can I ask you a question then?
To the right.
I rather do like the sister to the right because she's on your right side, but I'm gonna give you the name. I just want to
right hand.
I love it. And see, that's why I feel you. Can we rename her the sister to the right? Is everybody in unison with that, bro?
Yeah.
It was already sister
So
to
we
the right.
got two.
If I'm brother to the left, she could be sister to the right.
It makes more sense. I
That
love
works,
it.
too.
Sister to the right. I'm gonna
We
go to your
balance each
point.
other out. We got the left, we
And
got
the
the
right.
right.
That's why it makes more sense. Okay, so
Maddie
sister
gave her
to the
that
right.
nickname.
Let me
I'm
ask you a
copyrighting
question.
that.
So
10%
yes,
finder's
sex
fee.
fades.
Yes.
Oh, it has to.
Not
because-
saying that it's not important at all, but I'm
But-
just speaking not just from a temporary
But
perspective.
no,
Not that a nigga ain't laid it down. You understand?
Hold on,
No, I'm fucking with
brother
you.
left. So no, 100%
I'm
sex is
trying to
important.
be modest, okay?
Sex is important in all capacities of the relationship, but I want to hit one point you said. So yes, sex may fade, but intimacy should never.
Right, and that is
Yes.
that's a difference.
Yeah, and intimacy, like when I say, guys, intimacy can lead to sex, but intimacy doesn't always have to be about sex. It's part of that. Hold on, brother to the left. I want to hit sister to the right one time. So with the intimacy, that to me, as you get older and sex fades, that should grow because intimacy is all about learning, feeling, and wanting to be in the other space of the other person. So my question to you is when sex fades, if intimacy doesn't grow, can the relationship still last in your opinion?
Intimacy has to grow. For me, that's not an option. Our intimacy grows moment by moment, every time we're in each other's presence. So, I mean, I would have to kind of circumvent that question because for me, our intimacy grows sexually and otherwise. It's bigger than that. It's mentally, it's spiritually, it's emotionally, it's a soul connection.
All
And
aspects of your being.
all aspects of my being, and that's why we are soulmates.
Agreed.
And-
The
and
intimacy
I
grows.
most definitely want you to get on this, right? But I got to speak to this before you even get on it, right? And that's for me, man. I was making love to her before I even touched her body, and I was making love to her goddamn mind, right?
That's a beautiful
Just
concept.
by my language, just by the way I move, just by my swag, I was making love to her before we even touched.
Like she said, that vulnerability.
Right.
Right,
That's
and
tradition.
right, and to an extent, I had to be vulnerable. I had to let that vein out, right? That vein, that you know what I'm saying, that I had to let myself be vulnerable in the way that I had not been vulnerable before. And that's all sexual, man, whether you were willing to accept it or not, right? I was making love to her mind before we ever even touched.
But see, that shows you that sexuality is not just about the body. And that's what a lot of people
Agree.
And that's what I tried to bring up last time.
When sexuality is like, one of the things I love about my girl the most is I'm a talkative person, as y'all all seem to know. And if I can't have a real conversation with you, to me, it's not sexy. Because I like to talk to you. I want to know about your opinions. I want to know about your thoughts. I want you to challenge my opinions. I want you to challenge my thoughts. And if you can't do that to me, that goes back to what Sister DeWright was saying. Sexuality, like, we don't even have to have sex for me to really want to fuck the shit out of you. Because I want your mind just did some other shit to me because of the conversation we can have. And hold on, I want to turn over to Miss Jane, because Miss Jane's been waiting so patiently to get some knowledge real quick.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Reddy. I was just going to bounce off of what Sister to the Right was saying, that I completely agree 10 years in that the intimacy continues to grow. I learned something new about that guy like 3 days ago. Like, it keeps pushing. And that can bring you a lot of joy even in times when your sexuality changes for some reason. Like, straight up after the children were born, both times, there's a period where your body literally is not yours to share how you want to, and that's a tough time in a relationship. It changes really dramatically, and you gotta be patient with that process. But that actually became a part of the intimacy, even though the physical intimacy was on a break because of the birth of the children. We were getting to know each other in new roles and new realms, watching each other do new work, and so the bonding and the combination of yourself with somebody else was actually at a very intense point. Even then,
it opens up different levels for you to connect.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
Psyche, right? But you want to give that single component to it, because we all in this relationship concept.
All right, I'm alert, but I think love and lust in this day and age are like really, like, people really do like confuse the two and make you not want to be in a relationship. Make you not want to, like, I don't understand, like, how you have a child with somebody and you realize after you have a child with them that they ain't shit. Like what you didn't see the signs? Like, what do you mean? Like, you know, now you stuck with them for the rest of your life. Not 18 years, the rest of your life, regardless, you know? Like,
all right, Kanye. 18 years.
Yeah, but Kanye, he's so arrogant that he didn't listen to his advice. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was having a beef with himself. Like, that's how genius he is. Like look at, but you know, he's still doing his thing. But you know, I still don't appreciate that concert. But
he's got a little bit better since then, bro.
Like I think everybody knows somebody, a couple people, you know, that, you know, just. I think, you know, it's more of the image or the person that, you know what I'm saying, like the glitz and glamour, you know what I'm saying, like that why you want to be with somebody nowadays, like, more than just like,
I think it's a mixture of that and just the idea of love.
Like, just think about like you know,
you just want
you make a baby with somebody, you want to start a life with somebody, like what can they teach, what can this man or this woman teach, you know, their kids? Like what like stability, like can they, like, stuff like that, like it's so I don't know, you know, it's really hard to be in a relationship, you know, from the single side. I'm sorry, guys.
That is damn near impossible sometimes.
This is that kind of gears me to one of the questions that I have is, what's the single most important thing for a relationship to be successful?
That's a great question.
I feel like that question is
because
it's flawed from the premise, man. There is no single most important thing. There's just
random.
For me,
there's more than one important thing.
For me, I think for me, what I would say is communication. That to me is this. If I had to pick one, that would be the one I would pick, because if you can properly communicate what you want, what you need, what you're expecting, and that other person can do the same, and you both receive it, because communication is not just getting your point across, is that they understand it as well as they get their point across and you understand it. and you receive it, that if you can get that across, that can solve a good majority of the I'm not gonna say it's gonna make your relationship work, but I think if you have good communication, that can solve a myriad of issues.
Hold on, D-Ray. Like communication for me, that should be like a foundation. That should be like, like that shouldn't even be like in question. You should already know, like, just talking to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, no,
It's not that easy though.
Exactly, I don't think so, because a lot of people have issues with communicating and saying what is wrong with them.
You need to pick it up then.
Because,
But no, you
because think
act
about it. Think about when you in both situations, and I'm not even gonna pick a sex. You got person A, you got person B. Person A says, "What's wrong with person B?" Person B says nothing, but there's something wrong with person B, and person A is the cause of that. That's not good communication.
I think
You
it
didn't
really
pick that
boils
up.
down
Why you didn't pick
to
that up?
understanding more so even than communication, because you can communicate all day, and if you don't put an adjective before communication, what kind of communication? Open communication.
Well, good communication is proper
Reciprocal
communication.
Good is subjective. So like, what kind of communication? I think really it boils down to understanding.
So, Sister Right, I have to agree a little bit with that, but I also got to say empathy, because
That's what
to
I
me,
mean when I say understanding too,
okay.
though.
Then if that's the
it's
same
all
concept, then yeah.
encompassing of that. Yes.
Because if we on that same page, then yeah, because I believe communication is important, but you can speak to your balloon to face. But if I can understand the feelings
But that's what I qualified it with. I said
But
that
it-
when
but
you,
see,
what I said
but
was
that's- you
proper
said
communication
your
is
original thing
you
was
understanding
one.
what I'm telling you what I'm saying,
That's
and you
making,
understand it, and
but you're
vice
adding
versa.
complexity to communication, because communication itself is just being able to purely understand the words you're saying to another person. But when it comes to empathy, it's not just the words, because it doesn't have to be words in any capacity. It doesn't have to be communication. It could be, I left the dish
But
rag
communication
right here.
doesn't have to mean words either.
And I agree with that.
if
But
I can-
empathy,
Communication is just
but-
understanding the
but-
message that you're trying to give.
Yeah, I
But
think you're
empathy
getting a
is
little
even more than that,
semantic
though.
Yeah, that's what I
argument
mean.
here a
But
little
I
bit.
gotta say, empathy is more than that, because it's not even sometimes, a lot of times, we don't try to communicate nothing. We're doing everything in our power not to make communication.
It sounds
or-
like this is all under one umbrella.
That's
Nah,
that's
let
what
me-
I'm
let
trying to
me
get at.
jump in
But
Okay,
and-
how about
and drop
this?
my
How about
2
this?
cents.
My-
Matter, do your thing. I'm gonna speak my mind real quick. Do your thing, though, brother.
I guess besides the communication, which is a foundation, like one of the foundations, spontaneity
spontaneity.
that's
in relationships.
But look, but hey,
just,
but check
just
this
the
out.
wild card factor. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
And that's real. Keep it spicy.
You know what I'm saying?
No, no,
Yeah,
no,
that's
no,
it,
no.
you
Let
know
me
what
let
I'm
me
saying?
walk
Like,
it back just a little
it's
bit.
Tuesday,
though.
and you come off of work and like, what? Like, why'd you do this? What?
The same old gets boring every day, and people. That's a great way where people fall out of love. Like,
Yeah.
we know Monday through Sunday we're gonna have this routine, and this is all that's gonna happen. And when nothing ever changes, eventually you look for something to change.
Right.
The spontaneity is all of a sudden, like you said, like Wednesday coming, hey baby, let's go to the bar. Even that little bit of spontaneity is something different. It breaks up the mundane.
But look, let me if I can speak to anything tonight, let me speak to this. You know, we talked about communication for a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. My thoughts are about communication is that is, from my own perspective, man, is some bullshit. Because I come from the gang of talkers, man. I come from the motherfuckers that's real good at talking and real good at showing to an extent. But it's not so much about what you talk. It's not so much about what you show. It's about what you show over time. And, you know, consistency, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not about what you're showing today. It's not about what you're showing tomorrow. It's about what you're showing, you know what I'm saying? And it even goes past that, man. It's about what can you see past those words? What can you see past? What can you see in between the lines, man? Cause being from where I'm from, I'm, you know, talking is every goddamn thing. Your word is your goddamn bond. And I come from where the motherfuckers would speak to you and how you thinking something that's not the case. So, can you see past where they speaking? Can you watch what they doing? Can you watch their body movement? Can you watch what's in between the lines? And if what's in between the lines is the real deal, then it's the real deal. But you're not so much listening to what they say. You're watching how they move. You're watching what they're not saying. You're watching those intangible things. And if those intangible things is reflective of what they're saying, if it's reflective of how they're moving, then it's the real deal. But communication only goes so far, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say that I agree that communication is pretty key, D-Ray, and especially ideally communication is going to be key. But I actually am also kind of with Brother to the left because I come from a long line of people who talk very fancy, lovely words, but don't actually share anything real. It's just they just talk a big game or they talk a bunch of hot air. We're communicating in the sense that we're generating words, but we're not actually getting anywhere.
That's why I say empathy, because empathy is a behavior.
So, like for me, as someone who wishes that she was better at communication, but has a terrible track record with it. For me, the key thing that I could never get on without is respect. Like I respect the activities of my partner. I respect his mind. I respect who he is as a father. I respect who he is as a person. I admire him and wish him well, completely separate from all the other levels that I have about him. And I feel those same feelings from him. He cares about who I am. Like he respects who I am as a person, the efforts that I make, what I try to put into the world, my brain, my sense of humor, how I parent, all that kind of stuff. He respects that. So even if we're fucking up on our communication, which we do constantly, even if we're disagreeing on something or we're making a move in our career or with the children that the other one like wouldn't have thought to do, the foundation of respect is there to like, give each other credit, give each other generosity of, you know, the whole thing. So for me, the answer to the question would be respect.
Okay.
So I really think what we're all saying, which goes back to what my boo was saying earlier, is that it's really difficult to kind of narrow it down to what one single foundational rule is for having a successful relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I formed the question knowing that there is no answer.
Right. And
but it gets us thinking,
right,
at least of trying to find an answer.
Yeah.
And it got us on this path where you're saying understanding, he's saying empathy, she's saying respect, you're saying authenticity, I'm saying communication. You know, that we're getting all these things, and if you put all these things together,
so why form the question?
Because it got us thinking about it, thought provoking.
Or making statements about something that we already knew.
Spontaneous. What's the other one?
And he's saying spontaneous, yeah.
Communicative. What else? What else? It's a lot. It's a lot bundled in that.
Respectful.
All that.
So I'm saying, like, if you now the listeners, if they take
and you'll be
a little bit of everything that we said and you apply that, it can help towards possibly a longer lasting relationship. And aspects that, because the other aspect about it is, yeah, we understand it and it seems very common, or that it should be understood and known, but there's people that are in relationships that are learning this for the first time, that are understanding that, oh, me communicating properly, or me understanding how they're feeling, or me having empathy for them, or me having, I think I have respect, but is it the same respect in the manner that you were speaking to and the qualities that you added to it? Like, that adds to their having a better understanding of, you know, what a relationship is from these different vantage points. 10 years, 4 years, you know, 7, 8 months, 5 years, you know what I'm saying? And a single person, that it adds to their idea of relationships, because like you said, we all have a bias or a basis of it, but we all don't have the same basis.
Agreed, right? And I think ultimately what it comes down to is you understanding yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you my goddamn soulmate. I don't know if y'all heard that, right? But
I did.
That's why that's my girl, right? Because ultimately you got to understand yourself, man. God damn it.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, fuck whatever we talking about tonight. You got to understand what resonates with you and understand that to your core, and understand what you need to be happy, and understand what you need to be in a situation where you're moving forward.
Maturity.
And, you know, we might have touched on that tonight. Hopefully, if we done our job, if we did what we came in here planning to do, we touched on something that's going to resonate with you. If we did not, you still know what's going to resonate with you.
But brother to the left, like, I agree with you. Right. It's all about maturity, though, because, like, you can't really understand about yourself until you mature to the level where you can understand about yourself.
Absolutely. And you got to know yourself. You got to know what's a good fit for you. And you know, ultimately you got to know what's going to move you forward. And if somebody's not moving you forward, they is not the one for you.
Yes, sir.
God damn it. You know, they can make you happy, but that complacency shit is not, that shit is for the birds.
And that's
You got to be with somebody that's moving you forward.
That's what makes you single until that one literally shoots you out the sky. Like, you know what I'm saying? You gonna have, like,
Straight up.
keep flying
somebody
around.
that's keeping
you, know
you
what
where
I'm
you
saying?
at. Somebody that's keeping you where you at.
You know, all clear skies, everything is good, and then that one just bow. You know, and
You need somebody that's moving you forward.
Duck hunt your ass fast.
If you don't got nobody that's
Dog
moving
carry
you
your ass
forward,
away.
Damn, my neck, nigga.
if you don't,
Shout out
if
to
you
Duck
don't
Hunt.
have somebody that's moving you forward, that shit is for the birds. You need somebody that's moving you forward. That's got you in a situation where you're taking steps, you know, towards your goals, or you know what I'm saying, bettering yourself or
Being a
bettering
better
your
person,
relationship. If that's not the case, then that's not the one for you.
Because honestly, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards.
Yes,
there's not really there's not really staying still.
There is no middle.
The only
ground.
thing that's staying still is dead.
Yeah. And I have to agree with brother on the left, because like if your significant other doesn't want better for you, then they don't want better for you. And I know
And they
that sounds
don't
like
really have your back.
they don't really have your back. If they can, if your good significant other should have some opposite of you in some capacities. Like, I'll give you mine. My girl saw when I needed a better job, and not because I wasn't happy, not because I couldn't do it, just because it was time for me to get something better. She didn't push it on me. She was like, yo, you know you deserve more. Help me understand your own worth so you do better, and then you do vice versa. She helped me get a better job by understanding I needed to look out for more. I needed to go up more, not because I wanted more money, just because I was worth more.
Yeah.
And then in my capacity was the other side of, hey, you're not happy at your job. Straight up. If you're not happy, why stay there? You're worth more than being unhappy every day. We can find something to make you happy. So that's why I have to really agree is a good SO, significant other, should always want better for you than you can see for yourself.
Absolutely.
And
they have to be able to want better for themselves
as
and
well.
to want
Exactly.
better
That's
for
what I was gonna
you.
say.
And that goes back to what Brother to the left was saying about just knowing yourself and knowing who you are
ma'am.
and being secure in who you are. Because if you're not secure in who you are, you sure can't be secure in a relationship. And that's why you have a lot of insecure people in insecure relationships. But I think it just, the bottom line is that you have to be able to elevate each other simultaneously. You have to be able to edify one another.
Not grow by yourself, but grow as a couple.
Absolutely.
Go back to that we were talking about. We need to rise. We need to do better. We need to get more.
As well as having, as you guys stated, is that understanding of, because as we stated in, I think it might be part 2, is it was phrased as putting you in your place, but what the emotions we were intimating was that what we're saying is understanding what's best for you, even when you don't realize what's best for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and it can come off, as we stated, in situations where it might seem that an outsider looking in is like, wow, she's getting on you, or you're getting on her. But really, they understand, because they're in the relationship, is, no, he's not getting on me. He's telling me what I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
She's not getting on me. She's telling me what I need to know. Me, as F and Maddie said last time, is me going out hanging out with my friends is not what I need to do right now. Me doing this, and this, and staying home or whatever, which is what she's telling me, is what I need to do to get me to where I want to be. Exactly. So,
and prioritizing your needs,
Mhm.
and prioritizing the needs of the relationship.
and having that balance
Right.
between the two.
Right.
And that's hard for a lot of people to understand and to find that balance. And I think it's something that's going to always be evolving and changing and being fluid. So back to the water thing, is you have to be fluid and changing and willing to
Flexible.
and willing to, if that river bends to the left, you gotta be willing to bend to the left, but not to the point where it's breaking you and compromising you.
Absolutely. For the good of what you want to build together.
Exactly.
As you build and you continue
But
to build.
all this is I feels like, so it's like a foundation. That's a base, and like these are like things that are taught, more like
Yeah, you don't innately know these things.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like some people never get taught these these type of attributes that you need to like be successful. Like, and
But that's why you get those people like D-Ray was saying on the one side or the other side, where you get people all up lost in the sauce of the other significant other, where they don't know how to have their personal life only with the significant other, or you get the other side where don't know how to incorporate the significant other. So you either get that two extremes. I can't have you, or I have to have all of you. And that's what people have so much of an issue with, where people say, I haven't seen you in 6, 7, 8 months, is because you got lost in the sauce. Or I see you all the time. When do you spend the time with your SO? SO starts to get, jealous or bored, or it's like, hey, she don't really care about me, so I'm just gonna do my own thing. So that's just how it goes right now.
We've been talking for a minute, and I feel like we've hit a lot of information and a lot of topics. So thank you for listening to another Stay Woke podcast. Definitely hit us up with questions, comments. Tell us if you agree with our ideas about relationships, about love, any topic ideas as well. You can email me at cofounder@thesonicbreakdown.com. You can go to thesonicbreakdown.com. Under the contact us page, there's a form there where you can just fill out and put your comment or your suggestion, and it will get directly sent to me. And again, thanks for listening. This was thesonicbreakdown.com presents the Stay Woke podcast. We out.